Three-Dimensional Printing, Weapons and Copyrighted Materials, a dramatic reading. Names redacted. Introduction. John Bright, one of the students studying engineering at the University of Arlington, recently purchased a 3D printer for his college project. He spent lots of time working on his project. Suddenly, he was struck with an idea of building weapons with the help of a 3D printer, and he studied the whole process of copyright for making weapons. Moreover, he asks his professor, "What do you think about making a gun from 3D printing?" The professor simply replied him with the answer stating, "That will be the coolest thing I would have ever seen." That night, John planned to build the weapon and impress his professor for bonus points. He shops around the market to buy metals and important materials required to build a weapon. After researching for about a month, one night he decides to make it. That night, he leaves the printer working with the material on it. Next morning, when he wakes up, he sees that the gun was made right under the 3D printer. That day, he takes the gun to the college to show everyone his coolest creation. He explains to everyone about the time and effort he put in to simply build the weapon. Students get encouraged with the idea of 3D printing and appreciate the time they will have to put into it. Everyone has interest to know how they can copyright the procedures for many online websites? Was John and other students like him overpassionate with the creation of 3D printing? Is the 3D printer our future generation technology? Will that printer decide the ethical view of humans to invent new technology? Background. Everything started in the year 2012, when Defense Distributed planned to make a plastic firearm from a 3D printer, where the things could be easily downloaded and produced by any ordinary people sitting home. By March 2013, Defense Distributed was successful in designing a blueprint of the firearm. Department of State's requested Defense Distributed to remove the procedure/instruction from their online resources immediately. Unfortunately, the Defense Distributed had to remove the instruction, but some of the instruction brochures were still handy. Now, the question arises between people and the United States government about the public's safety. The public steadily understands the benefit of the 3D printer. Biomedical facility was much cheaper and affordable to poor people. In 2002, researchers built an artificial kidney to filter urine and blood that could pass into animal bodies. Biomedical drugs were easily supplemented and grown rapidly, emphasizing people to be more dependent upon it. At the same time, the internet plays a crucial role in affecting the copyright materials required for printing. In the 20th century, the increment of three-dimensional printing in the industrial area literally customizing the item part to reduce the cost, which was cheaper than purchasing from regular vendors. Back in 1980s, manufacturers were limited to designing the object into plastic. Today, the designer is actually working with real material to make components which will overcome any shortage in the industrial design sector. Ethical framework. Humanism will be the main ethical framework described as a human being's value being stressed by their needs. Likewise, 3D printing is needed by people demands which facilitated their moral behavior. Humanism revolves around actions which try to anticipate a consequence towards robust pluralism. Moreover, it supports the normative claim which helps human to share ideas and make decisions. Duplication occurs everywhere, whether you copyright your car keys or home keys, which are legal. Likewise, copyrighting the procedure to make a firearm can be essential to some consumers to make an enormous amount of illegal money. The ethics of the technology now question government to decide which normative claims are good or bad for society. On the other hand, should government stop the production of 3D printers that manufacture new possibilities or product to be created? The dilemma of supporting the increase of three-dimensional printing has been getting problematic over the last few decades. Looking over the creativity of weapons through those printers, professionals are saving lots of money, time, and labor. Professional practices the creation of the weapon under certain rules and regulation. Moreover, they have mastery of knowledge in their work. At any point, If clients force those professionals to work under pressure, they have full right to autonomy from their work. Thus, they have professional skills to create their own weapons and sell to the army forces or overseas. Unfortunately, professionals don't have authority to sell weapons in the market because they have contracts with the clients. On the contract, professional promises to be committed towards the company and follow the code of ethics. On the other hand, professionals follow the culture of practices to pay their employees on a regular basis. Consistency: if the professionals want to fire one of the employees they feel is more suspect, then he had to pay the employee until he finds a new job. University students all over Texas have full rights and can carry firearms if they have registered for a license with TXDPS, who record and check their background before the students are authorized to create any arms through 3D printer. United States Public Safety Department allows scholars to create the fully customized plastic arms to those people having valid license for personal safety. When Defense Distributed Company demonstrated the vision of their first creation of arms, 1 million people were downloading the procedure to create those powerful arms themselves. The server of Defense Distributed Wikipedia went down because it was impossible to stop people surfing that websites. The ethical framework of Defense Distributed was to publish the important information about digital production of firearms. Your position. 3D printing allows us to afford any media of resources such as a weapon, medical services, or an eco-friendly environment. USA military weapons are easy to be in market at a cheap price, and the materials to make the weapon require less labor. Making genuine weapons are very time-consuming and need a huge production company to invest in it, unlike 3D weapons which need only one night's work. The blueprint of any digital material can build a three-dimensional object and has gained more popularity with the younger generation. Scholars claim that the advantages of 3D printing have opened many doors of opportunity to develop the world to have an impossible creation at our hands. Humanism brings good outcome in the human mind for new logic and syllogism. The principle of humanism results in togetherness of human morality to decide whether 3D printing is good or bad for society. Generally taking about building a real weapon costs lots of materials and resources and energy. Unlike 3D printer is less efficient in producing waste and save global warming. Researchers find it easy to collect the plastic waste done by the industries and recycle it into plastic toys or gadgets for a short time. In addition, the three-dimensional printer maintains and balances a shipping and transportation department as well. Basically, we can say that it increases the job opportunities and doesn't require any special skill to work with it. Cost of buying a 3D printer is approximately $2,500 to $3,000, which makes it reasonable for any common people to buy and use it to evolve a new creation results new chapter to future generation. Considering about energy utility, it consumes 10% of total energy to produce new material and save rest with less reduction of pollution to the environment. Someone having hobby related to 3D printing can build new devices in short time with a limited amount of cost. Industrial production has major project to build certain material. While making demand, production employees find it difficult to recognize few errors and affects it on long process. Unlike 3D printer facilitates to debug that error on short period of time and gives a huge advantage on earlier convenient at limited time. Overall scenario recommends 3D printer to have popularity in coming years and takes technology system to the highest level. Conclusion. The positive side of 3D printing means to be very useful for the large industrial complex when coming across to produce new technology. The rate of the use of this printer manufacture enormous work at small factor of time. The impact of this device has been distributed globally and motivated humans to expand their ideas conditionally. The research has proved that 3D printing has given humans a vast amount of benefit, privilege, and opportunity to monitor new material in an easy and quick way. The manufacturing of weapons is not easily publicized, which makes U.S. government alert to enforce strong penalties to the nefarious people who violates rules and regulations. It makes people aware that highly filtered plastic weapons need to be registered under the government record. People need a license to be of quality to build those weapons for their own safety. In addition, weapons are not handled loosely and will be enforced with excessive practice. Human has created their own special lab to build new inventions instead, by working in the workshop. Moreover, it reduces a space and change a model of the living. The outcome of 3D printing has a large social application potential with positive desirable objects that are accessible at any medium. I think it's safe to say they didn't plagiarize.